Order. Mr. Schaffler, please call the roll.
Senators Amabile, Baisley, Ball, Bridges, Bright, Carson, Catlin,
Excused.
Cutter,
Excused.
Danielson, Doherty, Exum, Frizzell, Gonzalez,
Excused.
Hendrickson,
Excused.
Judah, Kip, Kirkmeyer, Colker, Liston, Lundeen, Marchman,
Excused.
Michelson Janae, Mullica, Pelton B, Pelton R, Rich, Roberts, Rodriguez, Simpson, Snyder, Sullivan, Wallace, Weissman, Winter, Hendrickson, Marchman, Mr. President,
Let's do this. The morning roll call is 33 present, 0 absent, 2 excused. We have a quorum. Senator Rich, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all. Approval of the journal. Senator Lindsay Doherty.
I move that the Senate Journal of March 31st, 2025 be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Wait for it. Okay.
All those opposed? No! The ayes still have it, and that motion is adopted. Mr. Schaffler, please add Senator Catlin to the roll. Senate Services.
correctly printed, Senate Bill 270, correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 166 and 190, Senate Resolution 8, correctly re-engrossed, Senate Bill 1, 2, 20, 41, 49, 174, 175, 176, 177, and 184, correctly revised, House Bill 1010, 1075, 1161, 1166, 1217, 1221, 1230, and 1234, correctly enrolled, Senate Bill 3 and 188.
Committee reports.
Committee on Transportation and Energy, after consideration on the merits, committee recommends the following. House Bill 1165 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Committee on Transportation and Energy, after consideration on the merits, committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 204 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation, and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Committee on Education, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 200 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Mr. President, the Committee on Education has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be confirmed. Members of the Charter School Institute Board for a term expiring July 1st, 2026, Nicholas Thompson of Edwards, Colorado, to serve as a member with public service experience occasioned by the resignation of George Ottoby of Colorado City, Colorado, appointed. For terms expiring July 1st, 2027, Kenneth Smith of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a member with experience as a charter school board member, reappointed. Deborah Hendricks of Colorado Springs, Colorado, to serve as a member with public service experience, reappointed. Mr. President, Committee on Education has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be confirmed. A member of the Colorado Commission on Higher Education for a term expiring July 1st, 2027. Jill Barkin of Denver, Colorado, to serve the 1st Congressional District, occasioned by the resignation of Josh Scott of Denver, Colorado, appointed. Mr. President, the Committee on Education has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the Colorado Commission on Higher Education for a term expiring July 1st, 2028. Teresa Kostenbauer of Parker, Colorado, to represent the 4th Congressional District, reappointed. Mr. President, the Committee on Education has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the Colorado Commission on Higher Education for a term expiring July 1st, 2028. Cassandra Walker Harvey of Durango, Colorado, to represent the 3rd Congressional District, appointed.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate proceed out of order for moments of personal privilege.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will proceed out of order for moments of personal privilege. Senator Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Members, we're coming forward this morning to recognize Child Abuse Prevention Month, organized by Illuminate Colorado. The blue pinwheels on your desks represent what we all want for children: a great childhood and an opportunity to thrive in Colorado. This year's theme for child abuse prevention is Power Through Hope, Strengthened by Prevention. When people have hope in a brighter future, hope for their family, and hope for their communities, they are better equipped to navigate the difficult world we find ourselves in and to provide supporting environments for our children.
Senator Michelson-Janae.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
We can all participate in child abuse prevention by advocating for family-centered policies like paid leave and increased prevention funding, by raising awareness, sharing resources, engaging in conversations, and investing in an ecosystem of prevention. We all have a responsibility to help children have positive, uplifting experiences and to help families with the resources they need when they need them. Together, we can build a more hopeful and resilient future for our children.
Senator Amabile.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have an extraordinary opportunity here to partner with families and communities and build an ecosystem from the ground up that is focused on primary prevention. The goal is to strengthen all families and stop child maltreatment before it ever starts. Because we know that once it starts, it's really hard to stop all of the downstream consequences. So in our world where we are so divided, this is a place where we can come together and we can say these children deserve our united attention to make sure that we stop maltreatment in its tracks. And that's why I'm so excited to be up here with all of you and participate in this month's Child Abuse Prevention Month. We have some talking points for you.
Excellent. Here we go.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prevention is hard work, but it is critical. We need to listen to families and lift them up in these uncertain times. Uncertain times and economic anxiety cause burdens to new parents like myself and to caregivers who work tirelessly. These burdens and our unforeseen circumstances can overwhelm families, communities, and caregivers. Thank you, colleagues, very much for your attention on this, and thanks to the incredible work that is being done on behalf of kids across our state. So, thank you.
Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say a few words also with regard to the child welfare workers that work in our counties and work in other resources throughout the state. They go through a lot to help out these children and get them the resources that they need and help them to get them out of situations that are abusive and neglectful. So when you see a child welfare caseworker, be sure and tell them your thanks as well, because they're just as important to this system, and they've got a tough job.
Thank you all. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that the Senate proceed out of order for consideration of resolutions.
The motion is to proceed out of order for consideration of resolution. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We will proceed out of order for a moment for consideration of resolutions. Consideration of resolutions. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of SJR 016.
Senate Joint Resolution 016 by Senators Liston and Hendrickson and Representatives Byrd and Hartsook concerning strengthening the sister state relations between the state of Colorado and Taiwan, and in connection therewith reaffirming support for Taiwan's international participation.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move Senate Joint Resolution 016 and ask that it be read at length.
Mr. Schaffler, please read SJR 016 at length.
Whereas the state of Colorado and Taiwan have enjoyed a mutually beneficial sister state relationship since 1983, and whereas Taiwan and Colorado share the same values of freedom, democracy, rule of law, free markets, and respect for individual human rights, and whereas Colorado and Taiwan have maintained a mutually beneficial trade relationship so that Taiwan has consistently ranked among Colorado's top 10 trading partners, both as an export destination and as an import source. And whereas on behalf of the state of Colorado, Lieutenant Governor Diane Primavera led a trade and investment promotion delegation to Taiwan in November 2024, along with officials of the Colorado Office of Economic Development and International Trade, the Colorado Department of Agriculture, and a Colorado delegation of economic development professionals and industry leaders from the state who explored opportunities with Taiwan in high-tech industries, including aerospace, agriculture, and semiconductors. And whereas negotiations for a fair and reciprocal bilateral trade agreement between Taiwan and the United States are an important step toward further strengthening of bilateral trade and mutual investment between Colorado and Taiwan, whereas pressure from the People's Republic of China has excluded Taiwan from full and effective membership in several international organizations, and whereas the People's Republic of China continues to threaten the sovereignty of Taiwan on a daily basis. And whereas Taiwan, as a responsible stakeholder in the international community, is seeking to meaningfully participate in the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the International Criminal Police Organization, the International Civil Aviation Organization, and the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, launched by the United States. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the 75th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, 1, strongly support Taiwan's sovereignty and vibrant democracy and celebrate the 42nd anniversary of sister state relations with Taiwan. 2, strongly support further strengthening of Colorado-Taiwan trade relations and academic exchanges. 3, strongly support the signing of the agreement on avoidance of double taxation between the United States and Taiwan to further bilateral investment activities. And 4, strongly support Taiwan's inclusion in international organizations which are significant to the health, safety, and well-being of its people and the world. Be it further resolved that a copy of this joint resolution be sent to Director General Bill Wong of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Denver.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, it's my distinct honor, along with the good senator from Pueblo, to pay honor in this resolution, not only to the country of Taiwan, but really to the face of Taiwan, Mr. Bill Wong. Mr. Bill Wong is one of the ablest diplomats that I've ever met. He is Director General of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office here in Denver, which really could be called the Taiwanese consulate. It covers a 6-state region that includes Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, and North and South Dakota. Ambassador Wong possesses pretty much every trait that makes a person excel in that profession. He is jovial, he's a good-humored man who never seems to forget a face, loves his country, and speaks openly, easily, and intelligently about any geopolitical matter. These characteristics serve him well, especially in the rather delicate and difficult role as one of the top diplomats representing his country in this day and age. A little bit about the Taiwanese government, which is a backed organization that essentially has given birth to the chip industry. Companies such as the Taiwanese Semiconductor Manufacturing Company and United Microelectronics Corporation. While the growth of the Taiwanese chip industry has been dramatic, it's in part because of the good relations that U.S. companies have had with the government of Taiwan. In other words, our two economies have been closely linked, growing in tandem for over 30 years, and Taiwan has been a key contributor to the U.S. technological advancements. The Taiwanese companies that have been critical to the development of the U.S. semiconductor capabilities. For instance, I mentioned the Taiwanese semiconductor companies that have been so critical and have been in partnership with U.S. companies such as Apple since 2014, reinforcing Colorado's $1 billion annual trade relationships with Taiwan while exploring new opportunities in other high-tech industries. The mission has had visits that have been focused on agriculture, battery manufacturing, quantum technologies, semiconductors, space technologies, and many more industries. 184 countries have graded in the 2025 Index of Economic Freedom. Taiwan finished number 4.
Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. On measure after measure, Taiwan scores well above the global average. Property rights are secure, government spending is low, fiscal health is strong, and trade freedom is robust. The strength of the Army lies with Taiwan's people. Well-educated, industrious, and entrepreneurial, they've proven that individual initiative, coupled with free markets and civil liberties, brings prosperity even to an island that's diplomatically isolated. Just as competition strengthened Taiwan's economy, it has strengthened its political institutions, even in the face of frequent intimidation from Beijing. Its longstanding ties with the U.S., which helped contain the spread of communism, have been a crucial element in its success. Taiwan today builds almost half of the chips used in U.S. computer information and information technology systems. America's commitment is reflected in the Taiwan Relations Act, signed into law 46 years ago. The spirit and intent of the TRA to deter aggression from Beijing, promote economic freedom, and protect human rights on Taiwan are as robust today as they were in 1979, and a living testimony that when freedom partners with freedom, the beacon of that liberty can shine anywhere across the globe.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, we're very pleased to have here in the chamber the Consulate General. Many of you have met Bill Wong, but members, will you please join me in a warm welcome to our Consulate General, Mr. Bill Wong.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, we're very pleased to have the Consulate General here. He is leaving to go back to Taiwan on Friday, so here over the next 3 days are his last 3 days. So with that, Mr. President, I ask for adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 016.
Mr. Schaffler, please add Senator Cutter to the roll. The motion is the adoption of SJR 016. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, SJR 016 is adopted. Co-sponsors, Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. If there is no objection, I request that the current roll be added as co-sponsors to Senate Joint Resolution 016.
Seeing no objection, the current roll call will be added as co-sponsors. Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would it be possible to take a senatorial 5 or whatever so that the members can greet and say farewell to Mr. Bill Wong? Would
We will
that be
take a brief recess to say hi to General Counsel.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Third reading of the bill. Oh, I forgot. The Senate will come back to order. Yeah. Now, third reading of bills. Consent calendar. Mr. Schaffler, please read the titles of all the bills on the consent calendar.
House Bill 1221 by Representatives Hamrick and Garcia Sander and Senators Bridges and Lundin concerning authorizing Emily Griffith Technical College to offer an Associate of Applied Science degree. House Bill 1230 by Representative Caldwell and Pascal and Senator Winter concerning changes to the traffic violation for overtaking a school bus. House Bill 1075 by Representatives Sander and Phillips and Senators Kirkmeyer and Mullica concerning regulation of speech-language pathology assistance. House Bill 1217 by Representatives Soper and Titone and Senators Catlin and Roberts concerning protections for consumers who utilize funeral services and in connection therewith, distinguishing transportation protection agreements from pre-need contracts, establishing a violation under the Colorado Consumer Protection Act and under the Mortuary Science Code for a funeral director who commits theft of a client's money and changing the date by which an applicant must demonstrate 4,000 hours work experience to receive a provisional license. House Bill 1166 by Representatives Foray and Weinberg and Senators Kipp and Cutter concerning reducing food waste.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for passage of all the bills on third reading of bills, final passage consent calendar, which are House Bill 1221, House Bill 1230, House Bill 1075, House Bill 1217, and House Bill 1166.
Any discussion on any of the bills? Seeing no discussion, the motion is the passage of all the bills on the third reading of the bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes? Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to be counted as a no vote on House Bill 1230, House Bill 1217, and House Bill 1166.
Senator Baisley will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1230, House Bill 1217, House Bill 1166. Senator Ball.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1075.
Senator Ball recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1075. Any further no votes? Seeing none. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1221 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Kipp, Winter, Michelson Janae, Judah Gonzalez, Exum, please, Senator Weissman, Senator Frizzell, Bright, Mr. Majority Leader. Yes, you are. Yes, you are on the bill. Any other co-sponsors? Please add the president. With a vote of 34 ayes, 1 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1230 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Roberts, Judah, Kipp, Michelson Janae, Cutter, Exum, Carson, Mullica, Wallace, with a vote of 34 ayes, 1 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1075 is passed. Co-sponsors, Amabile, Judah, Cutter, please add the president. No vote trading. Thank you. Thank you. With a vote of 34 ayes, 1 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1217 is passed. Co-sponsors. Judah, Michelson Janae, Weissman, Cutter, Kipp, Wallace, with a vote of 34 ayes, 1 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1166 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Michelson Janae, Judah, Winter, please, Senator Roberts, Liston, Doherty, Mullica, Exum, Ball. Please add the president. Third reading of the bills. Final passage. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 157.
Senate Bill 157 by Senators Weissman and Gonzalez and Representatives Mabry and Tutone concerning reducing burdens to enforcement of laws prohibiting deceptive acts.
Senator Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. President. We move Senate Bill 157 on third reading, and we ask for permission to offer a third reading amendment.
Will you please explain the need for a third reading amendment? Senator Weissman.
Sure, members. We did an amendment in second reading to quite narrow the scope of the bill, in particular trying to sort out this ongoing belief in here that we were upsetting a certain deal that was adverted to last year. This amendment is to layer on top of the second reading amendment and further narrow the applicability of the law by providing a specific reference to one single deceptive practice statute within Title VI. That's the amendment.
Gotcha. The question for the body is Senator Weissman's request for permission to offer third reading amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Permission is granted. Mr. Schaffler, please read L008 to 157.
Amendment L008, amend Gooden
Senator
Gross-
Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, thank you for permission. I move L8 to SB 157.
To the amendment.
Members, this is what we just spoke of. This is to further narrow down the applicability of the law for pregnant individuals, as noted in page 4 of the engrossed. This narrows applicability to a specific deceptive practice statute. We ask for your support on the amendment.
Further discussion on L008. Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of L008 to Senate Bill 157. Are there any no votes on L008? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, L008 is adopted. Discussion on 157. Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. President. I spend a lot of my time here in the well trying to understand and listen to and really hear the comments that come from my colleagues on this side of the aisle. But for a moment, I actually want to talk to my colleagues on this side of the aisle, because we're in a moment right now where our constituents, the people of Colorado, quite frankly, our base across this country, are begging us to do more to stand up for working people against corporate power. I see this bill as a test on that question. I see this bill as a question of whether working people, everyday Coloradans who are subject to fraud, oh wait, actually, not everyday Coloradans. I'm sorry, elders, people with disabilities, veterans, Gold Star wives, pregnant people, will be able to vindicate their rights directly without having to invite the government to intervene on their behalf, or whether the corporate lobby takes another win. I ask for an aye vote on Senate Bill 157 because we just passed a bill on third reading consent with bipartisan support. To ensure that funeral directors don't take advantage of everyday Coloradans, subject to the Consumer Protection Act. But if one person gets taken advantage of, I suppose that if Senate Bill 157 does not pass, individuals who find themselves defrauded under the provisions that House Bill 1217 is seeking to remedy and rectify, they won't be able to go and vindicate their own claims. They'll have to ask of the Attorney General. Have enough people been harmed? There are a whole host of different situations to which Senate Bill 157 could apply. And it's for that reason that on the day-to-day, when you see wrongdoing taking place, should we be able to seek redress ourselves? Or should we allow a judicially imposed barrier to continue to exist, a barrier that ensures that Colorado remains an outlier in our consumer protections across the country. That's why I see this bill as a test for Team Blue. I encourage your aye vote on Senate Bill 157.
Senator Wiseman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate the words of my colleague from Northwest Denver. You know, members, I've somewhat struggled for how to kind of close out the debate we've had on this issue this year. Got lots of cases, lots of history, spoken about that many times here and elsewhere in this building, and it doesn't seem to count very much. It is interesting to note, look, I think we believe in protecting consumers from outrageous things. Outrageous things have happened in the funeral home industry in various places in this state. We did just have a bipartisan bill setting forth remedies. I think very appropriate remedies. Remedies that are, as a practical matter, enforceable by one person, namely the Attorney General of Colorado in this state. Maybe that's what we just all meant to vote for on the consent calendar. I would have liked to have been voting for a little bit more, because I actually know people who've been impacted by some of these funeral home, situations, I'll call them. They're hellacious, and remedies are deserved. At any rate, you know, I thought I would talk a little bit about what it's been like trying to bring this policy to this place where we are now considering it on third reading. Some of you know this is a subject I've worked on for a lot of years, and I've continued to work on it because I think people deserve it, because at the bottom of it, places like this where we formulate policy for everyone in our state have to be about acknowledging the difficult reality of the imbalance of power, economic power, legal power, political power in the world, and rectifying those imbalances through laws, if at all possible. So the way it sometimes happens when you try to do a bill rectifying power imbalances is, you know, you form the idea, you pull together your coalition, we use the word stakeholders in this building, and you ask somebody to go out on your behalf and start having a lot of discussions and meetings, and those happen or they miss, or maybe they happen, maybe they get rescheduled. But word comes back, you know, from the other side, as it were. We couldn't get everybody to agree on things, and, you know, maybe that's okay. People are diverse. But what's frustrating is when you realize it's the blunt reality of just counting votes to kill a bill, not to engage in a policy discussion. Subsequent to the introduction of this bill many, many weeks ago now, I ran all over out there, invited anybody I knew to have an interest in this bill to propose language. Let's talk. Send in your lawyers. I'm here for the discussion. Nothing. It sometimes took the urging of other members, not either one of us, before certain folks out there would even come and deign to talk to us, notwithstanding they'd been running around behind our backs. I'm grateful to those other members who cared enough about legislative process to see to that. To the extent that the bill differs from things that some members might have seen in prior years, that was entirely of our own volition. That was us trying to operate in good faith to address concerns that we heard in past years. I won't go into the details. We talked about it on second reading. That wasn't anything that we negotiated to per se, because nobody bothered to negotiate with us at all. Nonetheless, we know what we're about trying to achieve, and we know what we're not trying to inadvertently do. So we changed the language. And then we heard concerns, and on second reading, we changed it some more. And this morning, thank you for the third reading amendment permission, now we've changed it some more. And we go into this vote knowing that that all may or may not be enough. So we'll have some more commentary up here, and then we'll vote. And maybe we'll proceed to the House, and I hope that the other chamber gets to debate this policy too. And if we don't, particularly if our efforts could not get you to support this policy this year, I am going to invite you to work with us this interim, to think about what remedies your constituents deserve and how to solve for the concerns that are stated in here and out there. Because we are an embarrassing outlier in the entire country in how our law is configured. One last reminder, we never even agreed to the state of the law now. The People's Branch, the Article 5 branch where the Constitution vests legislative power, we never said an injured person has to prove significant public impact before they have a remedy. That happened on accident almost 30 years ago in the judicial branch of government. I think maybe we should take our power back. A tiny number of other states even have this barrier in place, judicially or otherwise. Minnesota got rid of theirs. New York's on the cusp of getting rid of theirs. We are on a shrinking island. The sea of recognition that should not be the law is rising and eroding the sand, and soon we will be alone, and not in a good way. Our constituents will be alone, will be without remedy to suffer losses that can be several $100s, could be thousands, could be tens of thousands of dollars. The losses will keep growing. Data from the FTC, may they rest in peace, shows us that. I think our constituents deserve remedies from this place. And if not now, when? I ask for a yes vote.
Senator Carson.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to my colleagues on the Judiciary Committee, the senator from Denver and the senator from Aurora. As you'll recall, last week we had a thorough discussion on this bill, Senate Bill 157. I want to make a few final comments in opposition. My main argument, I think, on this is that it's not necessary. If you've gotten deliberately misleading advice on skills or experience, or there's negligence in the actions of a person, you have the remedies available right now. You have fraud claims, you have negligence claims. What this bill does is it basically says that any evidence of a deceptive or unfair trade practice constitutes a significant impact to the public, and that pulls it under the Colorado Consumer Protection Act, which does have the potential for treble damages and attorney fees. Now, I do agree that that is a high hurdle, bad faith, but the reality is these cases are not about actually going to trial and being litigated. They're about forcing a settlement. So you bring, all of these potential remedies listed in there to the defendant, the lawyer does, and says, look, this is what you could potentially be facing. And so it pushes towards a settlement there. And I will mention as well, personal assets can be at stake here for medical providers and other advisors and counselors. Insurance is often not available for the Consumer Protection Act remedy. So you could be on your own. You could be very severely damaging, going after the personal assets of folks in various professions, such as the medical profession, discouraging those who might be thinking about retirement from staying on, discouraging those from going into that field. So I think this, again, there have been some amendments made, and we welcome improvements, but it still is built on the foundation of some dramatic changes that were made last year around increases in non-economic damages out there. And so I think I would urge my colleagues to take a close look at this bill. It's a very short bill, but I think it's going to have a major impact on the professions, particularly medical profession. So I would urge a no vote. Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 157. Are there any no votes? Senators, Mr. Minority Leader Snyder, Mullica, Simpson, Dougherty, Pelton B., Roberts, Kirkmeyer, Marchman, Rich, Bright, Frizzell, Liston, Carson, Baisley, Pelton R., Catlin, Michelson Janae, Amabile. With a vote of 16 ayes, 19 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 157 is lost. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 190.
Senate Bill 190 by Senators Ball and Gonzalez and Representatives Bacon and Soper concerning processes for offender release from custody.
Senator Ball.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've covered this bill in discussion yesterday. I think this is a common sense bill that will take care of an issue that we're dealing with in our local jails, as well as making process improvements to special needs parole, and I encourage an aye vote.
Very good, Senator Ball. Please move Senate Bill 190 on third reading and final passage.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 190 on third reading and final passage.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 190. Are there any no votes? Senators Pelton B., Kirkmeyer, Rich, Bright, Liston, Simpson, Carson, Baisley, Catlin, Frizzell, Pelton R. Any other no votes? Mr. Minority Leader. With a vote of 23 ayes, 12 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 190 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Weissman, Wallace, Amabile, Judah, Cutter, Michelson Janae. Please add the President. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title to Senate Bill 166.
Senate Bill 166 by Senator Mullica and Representative Foray concerning quality incentive payments based on incidents of workplace violence in a hospital setting.
Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 166 on third reading and final passage.
Further discussion. Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, members, for giving me the opportunity to bring you Senate Bill 166. And it's a bill that really means a lot to me as a nurse, and it means a lot to the folks I work with. As healthcare workers, we account for 10% of the workforce throughout the country, yet when it comes to non-lethal workplace injuries, we account for almost half of those injuries at 48%. We're 5 times more likely to be assaulted as healthcare workers. And if you just do a quick Google search, you can see some of the headlines of what that looks like. There was one headline that read, every bone in her face was broken after being assaulted by a patient. There's another headline from Colorado that they're afraid to come into work. And I shared a story with you yesterday about a nurse I worked with that actually, after an assault, lost her unborn child. You don't become a nurse, you don't become a healthcare worker to get beat up. You want to help people. You want to make their lives better. And right now, the environment in providing that care is an unsafe environment. And it's unacceptable. And what we're doing here with Senate Bill 166 is we're saying enough's enough. We're going to start taking care of the people that take care of us. And we're going to address it in a way that brings everyone together. Last year, we had two competing bills, and one bill wanted to bring the criminal justice system in play more, and the other bill wanted to try to publicly shame maybe hospitals in a way that was not completely appropriate. And in the meantime, neither one of those bills passed, and then we're in a position where no policy is happening and nothing's in place that are protecting our healthcare workers. What we're doing here in 166 is actually bringing everyone together. And we're bringing a carrot to the table, and we're saying we're going to incentivize our hospitals when they have policies and procedures in place that reduce workplace violence. And then we're also going to convene a stakeholding group to make sure that we continue looking at this, to see how can we look at preventing workplace violence in the healthcare setting in a unique way. What metrics can we look at? What's the definition of workplace violence? And bring those hospitals and those nursing groups together and the patients and patient advocates all together to make sure that we're not done talking about this, to make sure that we come up with policy that is going to move that needle forward and make sure that we're protecting those who take care of us, to make sure that we don't see any other headlines about a nurse's face being broken or hear about our healthcare workers being afraid to go into work. And that's what we're trying to do, and I think that's what we're going to do with Senate Bill 166. Before I'm done, I do want to take this opportunity to thank those who came together, the Colorado Nurses Association, the Colorado Hospitals Association, and all the other stakeholders who came together to really say, we are committed to solving this problem, we're going to work together, and we're going to find a solution. And this is the first step. There's going to be more. But I'm proud to bring 166 before you, and I ask for a yes vote.
Further discussion on 166. Seeing none, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 166. Are there any no votes? Senators Baisley. With a vote of 34 ayes, 1 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 166 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Judah, Michelson Janae, Kipp, Wallace, Weissman, Cutter, Marchman, Ball, Winter, Amabile, Exum, Bright, Doherty, Roberts, Carson, Frizzell, Pelton R., Liston, Rich, Kirkmeyer, Colker, Snyder. Please add the president. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over the remainder of the third reading of bill's final passage until Friday, April the 4th.
The motion is lay over the remainder of the third reading of the bill's final passage until Friday, April the 4th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the remainder of the calendar will be laid over to Friday, April the 4th. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over general order second reading of bills until Friday, April the 4th.
The motion is to lay over general orders, second reading of bills for Friday, April the 4th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and second reading of bills, general orders will be laid over to Friday, April the 4th. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over consideration of House amendments to Senate bills until Friday, April the 4th.
The motion is to lay over consideration of House amendments to Senate bills for Friday, April the 4th. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and consideration of House amendments to Senate bills will be laid over until Friday, April the 4th or May 8th. I'm just joking. Committee reports.
Committee on Judiciary, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 155 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with a favorable recommendation. Committee on Judiciary, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1147 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Committee on Judiciary, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1185 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with the recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Committee on Judiciary, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1168 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Committee on Judiciary, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1148 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Committee on Judiciary, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1172 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with the recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Mr. President, the Committee on Judiciary has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Independent Judicial Discipline Adjudicative Board for a term expiring January 3rd, 2028. Jeff Swanty of Loveland, Colorado to serve as a non-attorney appointed effective January 14th, 2025 for a term expiring January 3rd, 2028. Jeff Chostner of Pueblo, Colorado to serve as an attorney appointed for terms expiring January 3rd, 2030. Jeannie Valiere of Johnstown, Colorado to serve as a non-attorney appointed. Tyrone Glover of Denver, Colorado to serve as an attorney appointed. Committee on Appropriations.
Take a senatorial 5. Announcements. Senator Winter and Frizzell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Don't forget that tomorrow is Denim Day. Wear your jeans, be comfortable for the long bill, and look at all this money coming in. Make sure to make your donation to help victims of domestic and sexual assault.
Senator Frizzell.
Members, there is no better way to have a budget conversation than in jeans and without a tie. So gentlemen, make sure you pony up. For Denim Day, we want, this box is a little light. Wouldn't you say, Senator?
Yes,
I think it's
yes.
a little
It's
light.
lots of room in
And so
here.
we really, really need some contributions, and you got to pay to play.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, members.
See you all tomorrow.
Very good. More announcements. Senator Kipp.
Thank you, members of Senate Finance. We will be meeting around 2 p.m. or so today to hear confirmations for the Colorado Banking Board, confirmations for the Colorado Limited Gaming Control Commission, and also bills HB 25-1224 and SB 25-167 in that order. See you this afternoon.
Senator Bridges. Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Roberts and I have something to share.
The good senator from Frisco?
The good senator from Frisco.
Very good.
And I just want to make sure you all know to bring this. There will be a caucus meeting that the good senator from Frisco will preside over. It has been properly announced. It is being announced here. We'll be in the old Supreme Court chamber in about 5 minutes after this. Bring this. This is the key to understanding the budget this year, and hopefully all will be made clear over the next, hopefully very short amount of time. Enjoy.
Further announcements, Senator Weissman.
Thanks, Mr. President. Members, the Senate State Affairs Committee is meeting today at 2 o'clock in the usual room 352. We have a couple of confirmations to consider, as noted on the calendar, and then we will hear Senate Bill 205. See you there.
Very good. Senator Pelton B.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a caucus meeting, members, over here, the 12 of us, at II at noon. So, Independence Institute, and we'll enjoy, and we'll invite the president with us, and the good senator from Weld County should tell us what we need to hear. So, and do. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. Love I2I. Great institute. Amazing work. Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I ask for a moment of personal privilege?
You may. Granted.
Very good. Members, on your desk, there is going to be a luncheon tomorrow, as if we don't have enough to do, but you're all invited to the Nuclear Caucus. There'll be lunch served tomorrow from 12 to 1 at the State Services Building, which is just across the street in the cafeteria. We've got a very good speaker about the future of energy in Colorado. Amy Oliver Cook, and you're invited. There'll be a lunch, and come learn about what's going on in the energy area here in Colorado. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. Senator Michaelson-Janae.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Tomorrow is Civil Air Patrol Day. Yeah. I know everybody is very excited for Civil Air Patrol Day. They'll be at the Old Supreme Court table starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So if you stop by and say hello and I believe get some food. The Civil Air Patrol is something that's very important to the U.S. Air Force, and I appreciate the members who have joined. Thank you.
All good. Additional announcements. One more announcement. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, members and Senate staff, the Colorado State Patrol has issued an updated emergency action plan that takes effect today. The Secretary will email the emergency action plan and one-page key takeaway prepared by the State Patrol to everyone this afternoon. Please be sure to read both documents so you are familiar with the new procedures. Importantly, the new primary evacuation site for all senators and state Senate employees is the basement level of the Merritt Garage, not the Buffalo statue anymore. On that note, colleagues, no need to return. We're going to recess so we can finish reading some of these bills from appropriations across the desk. Didn't want to waste time. So on that note, Mr. President, I move that the Senate recess until 11:45 a.m. today.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate recess until 11:45 a.m.